Yeah, I know it's odd because I don't even have a drink in my hand, but we could start the show.
Yes, let's finally start the show. Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of La Champ or track dog you run, SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate. We even think you Drifto, Hellaflush, ASMR fellas are all right, as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussion, whispers, tips, tricks, news and notes from the world of low buck racing, and if you're lucky, Chrissy might just give you the tip.
I will. I promise.
Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mental.
Stop laughing. You have to read the next line.
No, you do. It says Jeff says. It's even in green.
Sorry, and we are Everyone Racers. Thank you for coming back and listening to another questionable episode of our podcast. Welcome. Oh, now I know why I get to read it. Welcome to episode 42. If I would have known, I would have made my 42 shirt.
What kind of episode, Jeff?
I already said that. Another questionable episode.
There you go. Good.
In this episode, we'll be answering the question of life, the universe, and everything.
No, we won't.
Yeah, we will.
We're just going to talk about cars and other crap.
Absolutely, will. Yeah.
All right, what show working on? Who's going to start it? Let's do Chrissy, because I want Chrissy first. I'm sorry.
It's
because
okay.
You two go together, and I want to hear your stuff first.
Okay. So we spent the last couple of days up in Cape Cod, which was beautiful. Here, crazy hot. In Pennsylvania, crazy, like 97 plus hot.
That's how hot it was.
It was so hot. I didn't know that because I wasn't here. And it was 80 and sunny every day. We had a beautiful breeze, and we went out on the boat. We had some cool floaty chairs. Chris said, is this the great idea or the greatest idea? And now we're back home. So that's what I'm doing. That's what we were doing.
Cool.
Chris, how'd you do?
It was pretty great. And we were enjoying watching. Like, we'd sit at 9 o'clock at night with the door open out to the porch and the water, having a drink, and look at home and see it was 92 degrees still at 9 o'clock at night and say, well, this is much better. So that was a great time. Did a few things around the house. The boat ran great. All was well. On our way home, though, we're cruising along the Mercedes with no traffic, because on July 4th, there's not a lot of traffic, and that was amazing. We were making almost the best time we've ever made when the big red light in the middle speedometer comes on and says, "Warning, Achtung, check tire pressures." And from previous experience, I know the car is serious when it does this. And so we pull into...
That's why it says Achtung.
Yeah. So we pull into a gas station and put some air in the tires. One of them is definitely down about 20 psi, because that specs to have like 48 in the tires in that thing, that big ass beast. So and then we pull around to get something else at the gas station, and I hear...
Oh, it's pretty loud. It's not like you don't even have to be next to the tire. Like,
was it a snake?
It was.
It was close.
Amazing.
It was a tiny snake.
Don't step on snake.
Yeah. No, you have to do that with that voice from the guy that does the NBC shows. You found him in the trunk after 4 days. Was he okay? No, he was dead.
What?
The murder mystery show. That great hair.
We
no clue.
The tire was hissing. Was it okay?
Stop it.
No.
So back to tire stories. The Mercedes, because the brakes are so enormous and the wheels are so big, it doesn't have a full-size spare. It has a Porsche-style collapsible inflatable spare. So it's like worse than a donut. So and you can't put it on the... Does
it come with the compressed air, or are you just screwed if you don't have any?
No, it has a compressor.
It has like the world's worst Chinese compressor that started to smoke at some point as we were hanging up.
And then I said, let's just go back to the gas station and actually put air in it.
And we did, because it was full enough at that point. So you can't put it on the back, because this one has a limited slip, and you don't want to have the different sizes on the back, because we had 100 miles to go home. You don't want to burn the limited slip up. So we had to take the wheel off the front, which is the same overall diameter, move that, you put the spare on there, inflate the spare, then take the previous front wheel, put that on the back, and then also the whole car was completely stuffed full of stuff, including like a toilet in the trunk. Yes, we had a toilet
and like
in the trunk
a
of the
6-foot table,
Right.
and 5 bags, 3 cases of beer, and a fax machine, and a dead boom box. I'm not lying.
She's not kidding
all
with any of these
in our
things,
car.
actually.
Why do you have a fax machine. Doesn't the AMG version come with its own built-in fax machine?
No,
Why are you
see,
carrying
we're
an extra one?
cleaning out my dad's house, and it was in the shed, and he
You're
doesn't know
going
what
to
to
do
do with it,
electronics.
so-
Yeah, they're going to. We can't even throw it away. There's no
Anyway.
dumpster.
So it's a long process. Unfortunately,
It's
we
going to
had
redo
everything we
office
needed.
space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had everything we needed. We fixed it all and made it home at 60 miles an hour, which was terrible. I don't know how people do that. I set the cruise at 62, and I was so
It
terrible.
It is
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
hard.
People were flying by us and were like, "I want to be that guy."
I told the story when the Boxster did that, and I had to drive back from the North Georgia mountains at 60. And school buses are screaming past me, going, "What's the matter with you, slowpoke?"
Much.
Yeah. So speaking of mental, what have you been up to?
So it's still summertime, and I'm still doing day drinking stuff. But I've been working on motorcycles, actually, in the garage all week. So I got some work done getting the cheapo Chinese eBay bobber bolted back together. And I dropped off the new tire for the VFR today. So I'm actually upgrading to a Michelin on the back of the VFR. And It's nice when you walk into your motorcycle tire guy and you say, "Hey, I think I need to." And he goes, "Man, you got all the money out of that one. Good on you." So
Pretty much.
yeah. And spent today going and fetching the ginormous RV, and we'll talk a little bit about this later under news and notes. But I am headed up to the National Corvette Museum to run I'm not driving, but I'm going to be doing pit support work for the Road and Track and Friends team at the AAR at National Corvette Museum this weekend. So looking forward to that. Gonna sweat a lot because last July, all of us were, three of us were at National Corvette Museum in July, and it was not cool. No.
Okay.
There it is.
Jack,
All right.
you-
Hefe.
Finish us up.
My turn. So I know last week we covered the jaunt that Chris had to make through many counties in several states to get the new trailer so that the Cub Scouts could have a ride in a parade. And you dutifully hooked it up to the Suburban and left it for me before you left for the Cape because
True.
what percentage did you have that I would get the avalanche fixed?
8.
It was a non-zero number. That
8.
Was it a
Only
two-digit
because
number?
Only because it had a negative in front of it.
and I'd like to mention which vehicle was in your driveway when you returned from the Cape?
The truck.
Suburban.
The sub. That's
I
right.
know.
I fixed the avalanche.
Yay!
What?
Well, hang on.
That's not a surprise.
You
The
fixed-
avalanche, or did you fix the avalanche like you fixed the Miata? Sorta.
No, I
Well-
fixed. It is now mobile again.
Let's say you fixed the broken spring on the avalanche.
I
there,
fixed the broken-
there are a number of other things that are still broken.
How was that AC in that really hot weather?
It still work. So
How is it-
longtime listeners will know that I had a rusted, broken shackle in my 2500 Avalanche, and I brought it to a professional wrench who was a friend, and he basically said, no, that's not fixable. You got to go to a spring place. You got to get it remade. You're going to be like,
He's F big
I
time.
ain't touching it. So when it was 103, yes, you heard that number correctly, 103, I said, I have 1 day left to fix this.
Yes.
I waited until about 5 in the afternoon. I got under. It was only like 97 at that point. And in about 2 hours, it relented. Fiber discs can cut anything. So yeah,
Anything?
I cut the sucker off. I got it. I pried. I prayed, and it all came apart. And about 2 hours after that, it was all back together. Mental, go ahead. Got a question?
Were you wearing proper safety gear?
Absolutely.
Underneath it? Okay.
How
'Cause we know-
much rust is under there? You would.
It was a lot. It rained a lot of rust on me. That's why I was always wearing my PPE because
Did you have any help?
it was like, no help at all.
Just
If you've never had to pull rust out of your eye or go visit an ER to have rust pulled out of your eye, that's a fate you don't wish on people you don't even like.
No. There was one point where I was grinding, like, with the fiber disc and the 4.5-inch Harbor Freight grinder, because that is my favorite tool in the shop, inside the bucket that the spring shackle is in, and there was only like one hole for the sparks to escape, and it was shooting right up my shorts. So I went to the garage and I got my welding coat, and I draped it over my legs and continued to continued to grind. And one of my neighbors came over and was like, "Are you all right?" Because it looked like basically I was trying to roast my crotch. But yeah, it was fine. It wasn't a problem.
No problem here. All
No
good.
problem here. So I got it all together. The tow pig is operational. I drove back and forth to Birdsboro with little drama. Successfully pulled the Cub Scout. There was no deaths, no dismemberments, no Cub Scouts tried to fall out of Chris's brand new trailer.
How do you like the trailer?
I thought that trailer was really nice. I don't know why you'd lend it to an idiot like me, because there actually was a little small drama. And it happened on Washington Street in Birdsboro.
Oh, which is, well, the whole street on Washington Street or next one over?
No, you, on your street.
Okay.
Before I even got to the stop sign at the corner. Why is my wife's laptop making blingy sounds? Sorry about that. Before I even got to the stop sign at the corner, my trailer hitch fell off.
Oh my God. No way.
Oh.
So I put it was a different size, so I had a brand new trailer hitch, and I pushed it in, and I put the pin in, and the pin did not go in the hole in the trailer hitch. So I drove away, and it like pulled right out of the receiver, and I'm like, man, this is a clangy trailer Chris got.
Right, because you really only made it like 100 feet.
Not even. It was like 10 feet, and then I started dragging it, and then I had to like stop it because your thing's a hill, and then the trailer kind of rammed into the back of the avalanche. I had to get out, and then I'm like blocking the road. Somebody's behind me, and I'm like I didn't unhook the trailer. I just had to like make the receiver mate back into the hole, and that was.
I think there's sometimes that it would be really funny if you had a camera crew following you around. I think you would make a really good show. I mean, sometimes it'd be really boring, but there's sometimes that I just wish.
Well, hey,
you need, like,
there's a new story for next time we do a "Don't Tow Like Us" episode, like we did all those years months ago.
Yeah, your trailer has like no foot on it. You know, like you didn't have
it's just
foot.
a stick.
You just had kind of the tube.
Yeah.
That tube's not exactly 90 degrees anymore. It's got it's ground a little bit of an angle.
The thing is brand new.
It's brand new. I'm fully aware. So I owe you a tube or a foot or something.
We're gonna weld a foot on that. Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. This is the last time we lend you our crowd.
I know, but this doesn't matter. This is my son is out of Cub Scouts in March, so I no longer have to bring a trailer to a parade ever again in my life. I hope.
Boy Scouts never ever do that.
No, they walk. Boy Scouts are old enough to walk. Cub Scouts.
Although I don't know, Josh's pictures look like he's pretty comfortable in that chair.
That is so good. So good.
And I had just sent a text message that said, "Got the trailer, no problems." Let's go. And then you drop.
Clang.
Clang. That's
You're
the new
ridiculous.
word for whenever you just announce that everything's going great. We'll all just reply with clang, because we know something's going to go wrong. And it was
so cool that he was
put
truthful.
for me to mention as much fun as we had last week, and he did actually put it up on his Twitter this week. There is no Glucker, only Wakeman.
Right. I wrote that.
Yeah, but you wrote it in blue.
I did.
Sorry.
Any other what you're working on, or we're going to go move on to news and notes?
No.
News
We
and
need
notes.
an intro. It's like we have just the tip. We need a snazzy intro.
I just did it. News and notes.
Yeah, he usually does that.
I have like 3 things in here, so I don't want to take up all the first ones. But I will go first. The first ever bracket GP happened at Thompson Speedway last weekend, and many of our friends from the Lemons world were participating. The Dolan boys brought their Cadillac thing, whatever that was, that did the rally a bunch of years ago. Bright Ideas in their yellow S10, Haterade, the 80s E30. And are you ready for the sad trombone? Overall winners, straight out of Suncock.
Yeah, or they showed up.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing practice day.
Just wait. Look
Just
what
wait.
you made me do, Suncook.
How many cars? I'm not sure how many cars. I was looking at the pictures, and it might have been in the teens. I'm not really sure how many cars were there. But there was not enough for the testing day. Basically, the testing day got canceled, even though a bunch of teams had prepaid. They were not happy about it, but it was promised to get everybody refunds, and so I didn't hear any more complaints about that. but there were some complaints about the end time of the race. And I'm sure some of you saw it on the social media. I think Chrissy mentioned that you were reading it.
I saw some people, but I wasn't keeping too close a track of it.
Yeah, I went back and I did a little research, and it seems that the race was short by about 15 minutes because they didn't start on time, and there was some confusion on whether that was the race organizer's fault or the racetrack's fault. But either way, they were kind of like running off of the time. I believe it was 6 hours. There was 6 hours on Race Monitor, and at some point with a couple hours left, it got amended to lose that 15 minutes. So they ended on time, even though they started late. So yeah, who knows what it is, but there were definitely some teams who were a little upset because they were basing their strategy on that full time. And because it is a bracket, Enduro, the amount of laps you do per hour really matters. So having a 45-minute versus an hour, and it ended up getting some confusion. I just want to mention that I reached out to Marshall Hurley, who is the guy who ran the new bracket GP out of Thompson, to get some updates, but it was only a couple hours ago, so he really hasn't had a chance to respond via email. So more updates later.
Sure.
Maybe,
Okay.
maybe
Yeah, get
Thanks
all
for the
man.
update.
So now, and forgive me, did you cover how did they actually ever get everybody gridded up? Because the whole point of a bracket was they were going to use that practice session to establish.
They actually weren't. They could dial in whatever amount of laps they wanted to make an hour. So they got to choose their category. Now,
did any of them complain that they didn't have a chance? Because, God, how many times have we shown up at a racetrack with, we have no idea what this car is going to do? Well, okay, every time I've built a race car, we've showed up at the track going, we have no idea what this thing's going to do. So,
I didn't hear that. I did hear some people breaking out, meaning that they went faster than their selected lap time.
And that's much worse than going a little slower. Than the way they had it penalized. That was much, much worse.
So I wonder how much of that is just based on they didn't have a chance to just kind of know whatever their set lap time felt like.
Yeah, I don't know. And we know that weather and surface is very different and moves each time. I mean, if you haven't been there in a year, it might be drastically different.
That's why you put telemetry in it and set your base lap as an 80% lap. That's 5 or 10 seconds off your pace, and just watch to make sure it stays just slightly red the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I know that in bracket drag racing, there are plenty of people dragging the brakes across the timing line.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I'd hate to see that in an endurance race.
Yeah.
Well,
hit the brakes in the straight, halfway down the straight. That would be weird.
And this is
anyway,
the first real concept of bracket endurance racing. So there's going to be some teething pains, and it's a shame. So I hope the series continues. I hope this doesn't put a bad taste in everyone's mouth and nobody wants to go back. I hope it works out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
we would have ran it probably. Absolutely.
We would have had more time and more cars and more fixing. It would have been an option. Yeah. It's only 6 hours, but it wasn't a whole lot of money, so it's a good way to get some practice.
The Ombre could own some bracket racing.
It's very consistent. So yeah. So I told Marshall he can reach out to me anytime, and we'll shout out his answer if it ever comes in.
Cool.
Okay, what else you got? You have many things here.
Well, I do.
What do you want?
I'll jump in just to split this up. Lemons Rally was this week. Around the Great Lakes Rally. I really thought that would be a great time to do this.
It's still going on.
They're not done till this weekend.
Oh, even better.
They're in Ontario today.
Well, so there's some great stuff out there, and I know you guys all hate Instagram and Twitter and Twatgram and Face Poof. I don't know. But on Instagram, there's the Awkward Corner 455, and he's brought a Corvette, an old C4 Corvette, and the theme, and this is going to be one of those jokes that yet another one that only Jeff and I get. It's Boba Fett's vet.
Nice.
I get that. Yes. Boba Fett is the best character.
It's an MC Chris song. MC Chris is a local here to Atlanta, and he does a lot of voice talent on Adult Swim and some of their cartoons. So he's actually painted it up like Boba Fett's spaceship. He's dressed up like Boba Fett, and he has hysterical videos. So go find that awkward corner on Instagram. But just to give you a sense of what we're dealing with here is this.
I'm like a solo, for all I carry, could be hot at Yoda's dojo. Gotta make the money.
Wait for the refrain.
When I jump in the shop in your neighborhood, think you cook, I got a grappling hook. Let's make
Battery
this quick.
low.
No.
I'm a devious degenerate defender of the devil, shucking all the trash compacted on the detention level. My backpack.
Scott Jets, the Boba, the Fett,
A bounty hunt, Jabba Hutt to finance my vet.
Terrible. Stop.
No,
It's
it's not.
my
We're,
Awesome.
we're,
There were so many
we're a
power
racing
heroes
show.
right into that.
So,
And
Chrissy,
anyway,
which song do you hate more, that or Weezer's cover of Africa?
Weezer's cover of Africa.
So there's some great stuff. So do the Great Lake, search all the hashtags on Instagram, Great Lake Mistake, Fett's Vet, all that kind of stuff. You will find some hysterical stuff. They're doing a great job, and I'm still waiting for the part where anyone who can't get into Canada has to kill and skin their own bear. That's the McDaniel, I think, factor into that one. And we're going to have Eric on next week. We'll talk more about it at the end of the show, but we love having Eric on, and he's going to have some great stories because there's been some epic stuff that showed up to this.
Absolutely.
Yep.
A lot of our friends, too. So quiz time. Who knows where Yolo County is? Oh, sorry. You got something?
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Yolo County.
Yolo County. Who knows where Yolo County is in California?
It's all around Bieber's house.
Tick, 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 tick. It is in the Sonoma area, so you guys should know that.
Sorry.
It's burning. It's burning a lot. There's a huge fire out there. It is close to the home of Lemon's safety guru, John Pagel, the head of TinyVette, Mike Meier, and they are all posting really ominous-looking things and talking about how much smoke they have. So we wish them all well. Stay safe out there, everyone. I've heard many people...
Can you imagine how grumpy Pagel's going to be if his house burns down? Man.
No, he wasn't even there. He was at the Lemons race. He was
Still,
wife was
he's
watching
going
it
to be
all.
more grumpy.
I mean, I'm sure he's home by now.
Exactly. Yeah.
But there was
I don't
lots
like
of people...
I don't like the bend in this tube. The next 4 cars fail.
Lots of people were offering Mike Meier to because we know his house is littered with tiny vets with whatever the heck those things are. Where are those things?
Opals.
Opal GTs. So people were saying how many trailers do you have? Do I need to bring you an empty one? Do we need to move them? And he said, nope. It looks like it missed. So there it is.
That's good.
Cool.
The lesson learned, kids. Top safety tip: if you don't want your house to
Don't
burn
start
down,
a fire.
Surround it with abandoned opals.
Or don't live in California.
Or don't.
Sure. Most of the West,
Start a
actually. That's the
fire.
one thing that happens in the West is stuff burns.
Yeah, I've got some friends in Colorado right now. They're in tight spots.
Okay, this is boring. Let's keep going.
Chrissy's bored. So so I saw something
Jeff?
about a tariff here. Let's not get political, but let's talk about how tariffs are affecting our favorite hobby, Jeff.
Yeah, so at midnight tonight, this is Thursday, July 5th, a $34 billion tariff on Chinese goods and products goes into effect. And there might be a second round coming because it's basically a full-fledged trade war. And this includes steel, tools, and auto parts made in China. So, I don't know, go to Harbor Freight now and buy what you need because...
And Rock Auto. #,
Yeah.
They should both totally sponsor us.
Shit's going to get expensive. That's it.
So
That's all I
does that
got.
mean you have to go to the steel supplier, go to Fazio's tonight and buy all the DOM we need for the Z?
Oh, buy all of the DOM, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
All right, Chris,
the other
last one.
side of that means all of our recycling is going to go back up. So we have to worry
Speaking
about
of-
getting ripped off. And
Speaking of
things-
recycling race cars, how about that Citroen paperwork, Jeff? I know you had the day off today, and
I
the
did have
DMV
the
was
day off
open,
today.
and you said on a text to us, "Hey, Thursday would be great. I have the day off, and the DMV's open. I'm totally going to go do that."
I totally didn't go do that. Sorry.
Wah,
Do you
I'm
have
sorry.
the letter?
I totally forgot.
Love
No.
Jeff's
I actually
Oh.
did type up the letter.
Yeah.
So
You
that's
did
the
not
best.
forget sometime because
So-
I can text you every
day off
30
tomorrow?
seconds.
I know. So I will work on the No one is listening for the DMV, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
So I will work
We don't
on
have friends there.
I will work on the
This
letter
all
that is
would have worked
missing.
if you'd have
And I will probably
worked
have to
if
go
you
find a
stuck with that
printer. And basically I have to go to Trenton or mail to Trenton. So this is not a local trip.
Okay.
Trenton,
Trenton's
yeah.
not that far.
Trenton's not. It's about an hour and 10.
Okay, let's talk You need to get that done tomorrow. We need to get rid of that car. Okay. Gingerman was this weekend. Awesome.
Yes.
Yep. So the couple cars that I had racing for nickels, which I'm sorry that they probably didn't win their nickels for the Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra, and they were 27th overall. And then Lemonade Racing came in first, so they were the E30 and 411 laps. Fastest was a 147.
That's the yellow E30 with the handprints.
Yep.
I think so.
Those of you who hang out in Lemonsville.
And that's respectable across the board that they were able to turn those kind of times.
Sure.
Very well sorted.
Let's look at some things that did turn great times. Bad Company Racing in their 2002 Acura RSX. Remember, this is my $500 my ass category. Did 133 laps. So something must have busted there.
Wow.
Team Scream in their 01 BMW Hella Cheatyville did 10th overall in 368 laps with 152 is the fastest. So not even close to the E30, even though they're like 2 generations faster, and it didn't help. The Dodge Charger that everyone laughed at was 34th, and nobody cares about anything else. Nope.
Nobody cares about. All right, well,
Nobody cares about my Eagle Talon. Just keep going.
Well, we know how that worked out.
Probably not
Monkey
well.
Paw Racing with their Opel GT. Speaking of Mike Meier, they came in 38th with 266 laps. That's pretty good. Arrested Adolescence Racing Program, the other Opel GT, they lost the battle of the Opel GTs. They came in 43rd. Save the Tatas. They also had a 147, 7th overall. They probably either had some teething issues or some flag issues, but the fact that the Lemonade E30 and the Tatas card were both 147, that's moving.
Yeah, wow.
Sub-seconds of that, the Tatas actually they had the fastest lap of the race.
So close.
Slicing, very, very close. And yeah, there is something to be said about that one.
And the Dodge Charger only got 10 more laps than the Opel GT.
Which is what we keep trying to tell you people is stop adding horsepower, just make your cars reliable.
Okay,
And
go ahead, Mental.
That's how you win. All right. So while we're talking about cars that should be reliable, and I'm experiencing Team Skid Steer in their 1979 Mercury Bobcat went farther than anyone had a right to. All right, my computer's goofing up. I got to bring up the form again.
Hey, they did 300 laps and were 29th overall. Mental, you also had Landshark on your list. They were 42nd overall, and then with a 152.
They had to have some teething issues because the 152, that's usually on the downside of them. Team Glued Sticks, and which should be our Jaguar. I don't know what the status of that one is. They got 50th. They managed 200 laps out of that Jaguar. And Team Sheen, which is usually pretty quick, got 293 laps out of their Acura Integra, which got them 32nd overall. So, yeah, probably another issue going on there that we don't necessarily understand.
Now, Champ Cars at Nelson Ledges this week, and they were of the 51 cars there. It was won by GMS Racing with 952 laps. That doesn't seem right.
That's
Did
what
they park on the timing loop or something? So, also we've got
what? 900?
the Butt Lords.
Oh, yeah, maybe I
No, no way.
219 laps. So somehow they
Like,
were
no way.
700 laps up. That can't be right. Hey, whatever. No more of them.
No, they got 951 laps, according to that. The second place car, Team Coco, got 932. The third place team got 918 laps.
Okay.
Whatever.
Well,
Were they running like a 1 mile loop over there?
yeah, right.
It sounds like it was a 2 mile track.
So the
Whatever.
Fiero,
Keep
the Jacuzzi family, they did 482 laps. Is there a okay? And then the Beretta got 32nd overall, 356 laps. That lap stuff is weird, but okay.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, it's just like the cool Corsica that
Whatever.
we used
It is. It is.
Cool, Corsica, never been used in the same sentence.
to have. Okay.
Whatever.
And we don't know what our results
What,
really
Jeff?
are, so forget the rest of
All right,
these.
fine.
Yeah, let's just
Yeah,
keep
we
going.
don't even know.
But
With 900 to
Porsche
400
both
laps, it
finished top
doesn't.
20.
Yeah,
Porsche finished in the top 20.
one of them had like scientific notation laps and 3.2 times 10 to the fifth. Hey,
I'd like to mention that we are getting all this race information right from mylaps.com. They should totally sponsor us and fix their numbers. Listener feedback time.
Yay!
Okay, let's go.
Jeff, start up.
So DC Doug, we had a photo come up in our timeline. It was like the earliest photo ever of us at our first race. And he said, hey, this is awesome. This was my first Lemons event also. He'd been reading about the Wartburg online because it was the Wartburg race, and he came to see what it was all about at his local track, which was Summit Point, because he was DC Doug at the time.
Yeah, DC.
Yeah. So he met Jay, and Johnny Lieberman was there, and he wasn't there 10 minutes before he's been given his first dozen or so Lemons t-shirts, and he says I gave him one, which was surprising because I think we were selling them. So I don't imagine why I gave him one. But anyway,
because he's
60
Doug.
plus,
Everyone loves
I don't
Doug.
know, but we didn't know Doug then. 60 plus races later, and it's still all about the people. Thanks Misfit Toys and the future Three Pedal Mafia, because we used to be called Misfit Toys back then. And he likes sleeping in the back of our car. That's all I'm going to say.
And didn't we lock him in? He locked himself in our RV, but we were locked out of the RV.
Yeah, we locked him in, and he was asleep so perfectly.
He was asleep.
So
we woke him up. Hey,
in.
Doug, open the door.
Open the door.
Very
We have to break in.
convenient.
Okay. So thank you to everyone who responded to our 4th of July post on Facebook. There were a bunch of people that were doing some car work, which was awesome. Sean was doing an engine swap. There were some people at parades, which is great. And a few people were at the rally checking in. And Michael was checking in after Gingerman. And Jerry was relaxing. So everybody kind of posted up and said what they were doing on their 4th. That was awesome.
That was.
And I had some.
Go ahead, Chris.
I had some nice feedback
This
too
is
from
very timely, actually.
from Kurt M. He's a longtime listener. He sent me a text and said, "Hey, I've been catching up on the podcast. It's been great. Except, is Mental out of Twinkies?"
Either way, send more.
Get that.
All right.
That's it from Kurt. Thanks, Kurt.
So, interesting story about DC Doug and RVs. Do we have time or not so much?
No, not
Make it
really.
quick.
Not really. All right, never mind then.
All right.
Okay, well, let me tell you that Extreme Experience puts you in the driver's seat for some of the world's best supercars at over 20 racetracks in America and Canada, with no speed limits, no shifting restrictions, and no governors. Head to xxspeed.com, choose your supercar, find a racetrack near you, and start making a story of your own. 7 models of exotic cars and supercars to choose from, 20-plus tracks, and a year-round location at New Orleans. Pro instructors like Mental, Chris, Jeff, and a whole bunch of our other friends over there are in the car with you, helping you explore the car's limits and learn how to drive the racing line. Save 25% when you use the code EveryoneRacers, no space, at xxspeed.com to book your fun today. Extreme Experience, it's your turn.
Awesome. And we are going to be doing some wrenching at the CNC Mayhem Factory this weekend. Are we going to see Chrissy's mom at that, or is she still down the shore?
She's
Nope.
agent.
All right. Well, stay down the beach, Chrissy's mom. Hopefully you're listening and having a good time. Wear sunscreen, and let's get on to the main topic. Main topic time.
I got a little burnt this week. Okay. So we decided that this is an interesting topic that we didn't really touch on, but especially since we just got a new race car. What to do when you get a car that's new to you?
You bark at it.
You bark at it, yes. You might just park it and then but keep it in your backyard.
That's
and
true.
and not look at it. But so I was going to put both in here, race car and daily driver, just because I feel like mine are the same thing. And I'll start off and I put myself first because this is the first thing that you absolutely should do is wash it. Somebody else's funk has been in this car, and that's gross. And so when we first got the sub, actually just really any car. I just like to wash it. I get a bucket of water. I get a bucket of water and a rug and get my Q-tips out, and I get my Windex, Q-tips to do.
Why? Are things in your ear? Why are you getting Q-tips out?
I'm cleaning out the air vents because they get people's grossness in them. And I'm not a germaphobe. I just feel like it's better if it's clean, and then it can just be my germs. So I like to what, Jeff?
I got nothing. I'm waiting for my time.
Okay, great. So and if it's the race car, I go with start stripping it. Take it all down, take it all out. It's easier. Why clean it? When we got rolls, I worked on it. Actually, that was the coldest day ever in your old house. I was starting to work on the inside while they were trying to get it running, and I started vacuuming in the rug. I was actively coming into the vacuum because it was just ripping out. I was like, we're just taking this
I
out.
remember that.
Let's go. So basically, we started taking out the parts that we don't need, and then you don't have to clean them, because if you just take out the rugs, then it's all good. But it's a little easier to start taking out stuff that you don't need and start unbolting. And the Citroen, actually, the Rolls and Citroen both had some mold on them, which is also gross. So they were sitting closed up, and it's nice to just be able to wash it all out and start fresh. So that's what I think we should do. I don't think anybody agrees with me, but that's okay.
I do. I do, but I have something else to say.
You might have more agreement later in the line, too. So go ahead, Chris.
Okay.
Or no, it's Mental next.
Mental can go. Go for it.
Okay,
Either
go ahead,
or.
Mental.
And actually, there's wisdom about washing, and while part of it you probably do want to take it to one of those power wash quarter wash places. The other thing, and Peter Egan wrote about this years ago, about washing a car, you're just going to start getting a sense of what it is. You're going to kind of feel the contours. You're going to identify stuff that may not have shown up in the ad, or when you were just blinded by, oh my God, cool new car type thing. So no, washing it is a good way just to get to know it. Now, having agreed with Chrissy, I'm going to tell everybody right now that one of the first things I always do is give it a name. And it's not like a name like Greg or Joe or something like that.
Yeah, but it kind of is.
It kind of is, but they get a title. So
Okay.
if it is a simple name, it's known as like Project Tank Cat or the cheapo Chinese VFR Annie. So they have these titles. But outside of giving it a name, don't do what I do, which is immediately I just try to go fast right away without changing anything. And I'm going to go to a story. When I was actually trying to do one of the crap can rallies, I had my friends in Oklahoma pick up a 55 Pontiac Chieftain, and we were going to mate it to an S10 that I'd
What
found.
a horrible idea.
When I
terrible.
found it, I
That's
had
terrible.
$170 total in this project. So we had this S10. Well, my friends got it running in my buddy Paul's shop, and immediately, as soon as I get the S10 running, I back it outside and do a burnout, because why not? And of course, we get the burnout on video, and then we pull it back in and find out that because this car's been sitting in the backyard, most of the oil pan is full of rainwater, and that's just what I've been running the engine at max revs on.
Oh no,
Yeah, exactly.
that's terrible.
So as tempting it is to want to get in there and start mashing all the new buttons, exercise a little bit of control. And what I have found, my best friend in situations like this, when I want to go absolutely nuts, is a notepad and a pen. And I go out and I start making lists and
That's
subsets
so nuts. You're
of
so
what
nuts. A
I wanna
pen.
do, and actually write things down before you actually go out and go hauling down the road. So there's something to actually being orderly. And even Jay Leno talks about this on his shows. When you're tearing a car apart, even if you're gutting it for a race car, slow down, get some Ziploc bags, get your magic marker, and start labeling things as you pull it off the car, because even if you're not going to put it back in the car, there might be somebody restoring one that needs one. As crappy as a car as it might be, there might not be any parts available right now. Right now, I'm wondering how many people threw out 81 Plymouth Champ gas tanks that I could use right now because, no one ever wants this piece of crap. So
Nobody
just-
does.
They don't have the
Not
internet.
even you want that.
So, again, don't go fast right away. Slow down, make a list, label everything. Just chill, man. Enjoy it. It doesn't have to be like your first time on prom night. It can be like, your fourth or fifth time in college.
Nice.
Yeah,
Chris,
absolutely.
what you got?
Well,
Picking up off the prom night comment.
Yeah. No, as usual, I guess I'm going to be the anti-mental here. And say all the stuff Mental said that he never does, that's what you should do first. It's get the car to a good, solid baseline. I mean, you have to undo the crimes of previous owners and find out what the car is supposed to
understand
be.
what those crimes were.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, maybe they didn't change the oil, and now
Right.
it's sludge.
Damn previous owner symptom is a real thing. So you have to get past that and get the car up to where it should be so you know what's really wrong or what's actually right about it. So you need to do a baseline on all fluids and all the maintenance, especially the important stuff. If it's something that's sitting a long time, I like to just drain all the oil out and fill it full of automatic transmission fluid and run it on that for a little while, especially idling, low-speed stuff. That has a lot of detergents in it. It's going to suck a lot of the carbon out of it and get the deposits out, can free the rings up a little bit. Put some of that, some seafoam, just clean it out. Get the gunk out. make sure there's actually trans fluid in it. Or like if you get something like a Miata, make sure there's actually oil in the turret, because usually most janky Miatas, there's not by that point. So go through it, do a baseline, flush the brake fluid, make sure all the fluid
do that
bleeder
first,
nipples.
actually. Just flush the brake fluid first.
Well, it's not going on
Right.
track right now. It's just,
Well, just still-
driving it down the street.
Just to make sure the bleeder nipples are not completely rusted solid, so you can order new ones,
There's
because
that.
you know you're
Like
going to need
every
them.
single one on my truck when I got it.
And well, even ours. Actually, Chris, you just replaced one on ours.
I tried to replace it, but the one the parts store gave me was a fine thread instead of a coarse thread, so I just hammered a 9mm socket on the bleeder instead of a 10mm and bled it that way. And
Been there.
That's the way it is right now.
That's a very Jeff mental kind of a solution to what normally would be a good Chris approach to solving a problem.
Well, I had already gone and bought the parts, trying to do a good Chris approach, but the fact that they gave me the wrong ones, and I didn't know it was the wrong ones, because I can't take the bleeder screws out to check, because then I lose all the brake fluid and make a big mess. So yeah, so I had to resort to the Jeff mental approach of, damn it, just because I had to get the truck fixed and back moving again, and that's.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But it's
So says the man who broke our brand new trailer.
but it's
He just gave it a little bit of character.
yeah. But
what
it's the second
It's still
chance.
trailer. It still hauls. It still does its primary
don't-
function.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, you don't hammer in a socket too small to begin with. That's a second chance. You got to do those things
Last
sometimes.
resort.
It's true.
No, but what I'm telling you is, if it were me, Chris, what I would have done was take it all the way out and never put it back. But you didn't have the right
It's a
part.
brake bleeder. We can't not. Like,
No.
lose
I
all
mean,
the
go
fluid.
get the right brake bleeder is what I would have done.
Yeah, the parts store had just closed, because I went right before they
Oh,
closed.
that's the worst.
Got the ones that they said per their book were fine. Came back, was working on it. No, and I had to get it finished that night. So
Yeah,
back together.
I understand that.
hey, that's life with a crappy car, or even a modestly crappy car, is sometimes
Which
you do
we've
those
done,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you do those things. Do what you got to do.
It's got to go to work
Gotta
tomorrow.
get done right.
Yeah, Jeff, speaking of
So-
janky cars that litter the tri-state area,
Yes.
We're serious.
Yes.
what do you do?
The sins of past owners that need to be undone.
Or people that borrow my freaking car.
I'm going to split the difference right between Chrissy and Mental. I think it's important to give it a little pistol whip around the block a few times. But then the next thing you do is you clean it. And I'm going to be honest here. You clean it because it's a piece of crap, and you got to get the crap out of it. You got to find out where those rust holes are. You got to find out what damage is in the paint.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're going to do anything about it, but you have to understand what's going on. So, hoon it. Burnout video is okay, because the next step is you need to Facebook and Gram that sucker. You got to IG, look what I just brought home, and
Gotta
it's
be
making
lit,
a burn.
yo.
Exactly.
And honestly,
Exactly.
you know what? And if it's a crappy enough car, your wife will do it for you.
No, not at all. Because
That's how the champ went on Instagram the first time.
Oh,
the
babe,
next on my
really?
list, the next item on my list is actually
So
apologize.
janky.
The next item on my list is actually apologize to the wife. So you go out there and you buy it, you hoon it around the parking lot, you take it to the car wash, you give it a quick spray, then you bring it home and say, "I'm very sorry that this followed me home, but I had to." All
And then
right?
where's the part where your neighbors come out and talk to you about it?
Oh, mine don't.
Oh yeah, that's not true. Your
Mine
one
just roll their eyes and go,
in Hewitt. Totally.
In
used to
Hewitt,
come
they did.
over.
No,
They all
absolutely.
came over and asked you, and they were working on it.
yeah. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips on cleaning the interior, because everyone knows how to clean the
I'm sorry.
exterior.
Wait a second. Jeff, wait.
Yes.
Give me a tip. Well, you're giving me the what?
There it is. Here it comes. Are you ready? It is highly possible when it's really funky to power wash the seats.
Oh yeah, totally.
You do not know how much gunk is going to come out of that foam seat until you unbolt it, put it on the pavement and you put the floor mats right next to it. Power wash the hell out of those suckers. Chris, I know you've done this.
Absolutely. And when those seats are out, it's a great time to pull the whole carpet out, actually.
Absolutely.
And power wash the carpet.
Yes.
Put a little simple green. I've power washed it and then put some Tide on it and scrub
Yep.
that in with a
Scrub,
brush.
scrub,
and then
scrub.
you power wash it again. You leave it outside on a sawhorse to dry for a couple
I usually
days.
don't use Tide. I usually use Simple Green.
So we're talking like this is like when you're
Breeze
talking about
too.
the Miata, right? Like this is what.
No, just really crappy things, because that's what I was thinking.
The $200
I
Miata
bought
is
it
not really
actually-
crappy.
I bought a
No, you're not
Volkswagen
actually
Jetta. Sorry, Chrissy. Go ahead.
You're
Sorry.
not actually going to take the whole carpet or seats out of like a Honda Civic.
I have.
Like-
Yeah.
Sure. Sure. Did it to the
Absolutely.
Saab,
Every
did it to the Mazda. So
No, your
yeah.
Mazda.
Not the Miata, because I couldn't get the seat out, but I did the passenger.
I know. I tried to get
The
the seat out.
passenger
Thanks.
seat. Yeah.
I did the passenger
Good.
seat.
That's a good way to go.
Yeah. Good way to
Pressure
go.
wash.
I also want to mention that you have to go into all the nooks and crannies and find the stuff that the previous owner left. I have found weed. I have found some really great stuff. Chris, I think you were there when we cleaned the Subaru out that we took the donor for the Wartburg out of. Remember, it had like the rape kit in it.
Oh yeah, it was like a knife and rope and some children's toys.
Oh, God.
And yeah, really.
It was like a blouse, some rope, and a rusty fishing knife, like all in a little cubby hole in the back of a Subaru station wagon.
And it's horrible.
It is horrible. Go ahead, Mental.
Two things. I bought a Jetta, and I bought it and flipped it to pay for some racing. But the guy who owned it was a cigar smoker. And absolutely, I unbolted every seat in that thing, pulled that entire thing out, let it air for 2 days just to try and get the stench out of that car, and dumped a gallon of Febreze on that carpet while it sat and baked on my driveway. So that is, yes, you're going to pull the seats out. And honestly, if it's not too janky, it's usually only one. They'll get every seat out of a car, and then you can pull all the seats out, or pull all the carpet out. And if you want it good and clean, Chrissy level clean, it's got to be out of the car completely. Otherwise, you're just covering stuff up. The other thing is, when you're pulling all that carpet out, how much change do you guys normally find?
$1.50, $1.85.
Oh,
Usually
no.
in that area.
Not
I found like
way more.
$7-8, and that's one thing. I keep a jar on my workbench for all the change that I find in the various cars that I drag home, and when it gets full, I donate it to my favorite charity. And that's just a really good kind of karma bank thing to do there, is save all the change when you yank all the carpet out of a car, especially if you're gutting one. There's probably $4 in every race car I've ever built.
That just goes back in the budget officially.
That's right.
Or
Back
it
in the
just
budget.
goes in.
It's official. Yes,
Or
absolutely.
it just goes
Okay.
back in your pocket. So this all makes me think of the one time when we picked up the first S10. We had to go to the hills past
Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
close to the Ohio-West Virginia line. Very scary place. We found, so I'm pretty sure it. Should I preface this a different way? There was a man of
little
small
person.
A man of small stature. He had
I
his
think you're
pillow.
allowed. Now, was he actually a
No.
little person,
No.
or just really short?
He was.
I think there was some hills of West Virginia going on.
So he
They're very
couldn't
close
reach the pedals.
family. Yeah.
So,
So one of
he
my
had-
cousins is what you're telling me.
He had a
Yeah.
seat pillow that we took out of there. They had a ton of chew, and we had
Oh,
It was all minty stuff too, right?
I don't remember it that well, but and then there was this is one that had so much change in it. Had for like we kept finding pennies down the sides of things. So that one was an experience.
We also found a key to some Yamaha something. Just
It was
on
a
its own.
motorcycle, right?
We don't
Motorcycle.
know. Well,
key.
who knows? Yamaha makes all kinds of stuff. There was a Yamaha key. Who knows?
Awesome.
And then
So-
now, what's the do we have? What time are we at? What's the coolest thing you guys ever found in a race car?
Weed. I already told you. I don't even smoke weed. I mean, I have to say where it was, because that's the part that was cool. So the center armrest of a DSM, first generation DSM, when you opened it up, it actually had a pocket like under the armrest in the center console, which is
It's like a
only
secret weed
like a little
pocket.
secret thing.
I'm hearing that Eddie Vedder Saturday Night Live skit. Dude, you put your weed in there.
Yeah. So it had like a little flap door on it, and it flapped down, and there was rolling paper and a little bit of like bud, like not like real, like you couldn't put it together and smoke it. I mean, I'm not a weed guy. I guess you really could if you cared.
Well, you're
but
in college. So, yeah.
yeah. So it was like I flopped it down and said, "Hey, that's got to get out of here," and threw it in the woods. So
I can't think of anything other than that car. Well, it's probably because we've sourced a lot of our cars from family members, so they're not as interesting. But I do like to go.
Or you're not going to admit it. Oh God, I am never going to speak of this thing that I found in my family's car again.
No.
I have to be there when you guys got to 300.
when we go through at the junkyard, I really like to look in the people's cars to like get a tiny picture of what you like. I go through the receipts and I like found random crap, and I don't know why. Like Chris is like there to get parts, and I'm just going through the car to find crap.
Junkyard archaeologist there.
What is Donald's Dungeon? And what costs $48 at Donald's Dungeon?
Right? You're like, wait, really? You spent this much at McDonald's? Come on,
When I got my Miata, you talk about doing the archaeology on that. When I got my Miata that we turned into the OK Speed Lemons Miata, in the glove box were 2 previous DUI convictions, a receipt for like one of the, you go to the classes to get your first DUI waived, and in the cup holder, a half-drink Bacardi Breezer.
Oh no!
Which is how it is.
Not learning well.
Not again.
Clearly a lie. There's no cup holders in a Miata.
Yeah,
clearly. Unless you had the little cup holder thing.
Oh yeah, they're worth money if you can sell that the console
actually.
Yeah,
that's necessary actually.
Anyway, we talked enough about what we find in the crappy cars. I guess auto archaeology might be a future topic because this sounds thrilling. We should all.
That's one for some listener feedback. Yeah. Let's get
listener feedback. That's excellent.
That's a good one for that.
What is the weirdest thing you have found in a car while you're cleaning it out? Hit us up on the Facebook or the Instagram, or drop us a line. Let's move on to what
Mental
we've
found
all been waiting for.
Yeah, there's one thing before that, because you're not looking at the updated notes. Mental found one bit of listener feedback that we've been looking for, and he just found it. So Mental, tell us about this international feedback.
I typed right next to it. Do it at the end credits, but that's okay. Do it now. We're here.
Didn't go in there.
All right. So this is good though, because we were talking about this before we started recording the show. So Erling Lang, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, but he got a hold of this and said, "Hey, just came to say I cannot find you in the Google podcast system. Thanks for a nice, fun show. Love from Sweden." So we have our first official international listener. Woo! So Erling, get me an address, and we are going to get you an E1R sticker to rock on your
Volvo.
I know I'm being elitist here, but you're right. You're rocking a Volvo over there. If he's a gearhead, I feel like he's probably driving a Volvo. Because what's
Saabs,
man.
Saab, man.
Saabs? All right.
Or Fisker. Here, what else is that made on there? Isn't the Fisker made in Sweden?
No,
that's Holland. Holland.
Yeah.
Holland.
But
no. Spiker was Holland.
Spiker.
Ooh,
that's what I was going for.
That's a whole lot different than a Fisker.
All right, let's get to it.
The feedback.
Thank you for writing us from Sweden.
Seriously.
Chrissy, can just the tip reach from Sweden?
All of this. Yes. All of these things are applicable there.
It's an international.
International. We all know what it is. We've all been waiting for it.
And she's so excited. She promises just the tip this time. Just the tip.
Just the tip. Let's do it.
Happen. Okay, let's do it. So actually, this part is not going to be as applicable in Sweden. But who blew themselves up yesterday? Anyone? Anyone? Any fireworks? Any what?
A Florida man.
Yeah, at least one.
That's a safe answer.
Them.
Yes.
There's a Twitter called Florida man, and it always is links to this ridiculous stuff that people in Florida do to get in trouble.
Totally. Okay, so I did. We had a group text with a whole bunch of our friends, and I reminded them how dangerous sparklers were, and they told me I was a buzzkill. So their sparklers are very dangerous. Okay, so we're moving on. Today's safety tip is one that we talked about a few times, but it's so relevant right now. So if you're taking a road trip and you are hyper focused on making sure you've packed everything in your car to make sure that you are going to have a great time. Well, when's the last time you've considered your car and your day? If you don't give it some time before you leave. So as we mentioned, we had a nail puncture one of our tires from vacation from Cape Cod. Fortunately, and this is where I'm pulling a lot of this from, the fix could have been a lot worse if Chris wasn't really good at being prepared for stuff. So these are the couple things that I think you should.
Bad decisions that he's made in the past. Don't let him fool you.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, he admitted that that we have not actually changed a tire on a road trip. No, on the side of the road. So, but this is all stuff that is helpful to think about, and I hope you will do it. So check your spare tire. If it's flat, you'll be kicking yourself, or maybe your spouse is going to kick you for you. If you're on the side of the road with a flat spare, yes, Chris.
Check things like your mom's spare tire or your significant other's spare tire, because odds are they haven't, and I don't know how many people who've come and have touched their car, and their spare tire is at 20 pounds. So check it for your friends and family.
So if you're on the side of the road with a flat spare, that just sucks. Like you're changing it and you're like, okay, now I still can't go anywhere. Also make sure it's not dry rotted and there's not like already a nail in it anyway. And make sure it's still where you think it was. You know, I don't know. Maybe somebody could have moved it and be like, oh, I need this space. Jeff, you know this. Maybe, so you don't really know.
Because we all love our GM tow pigs, and they all have that ridiculous little cable that drops it down there, and they get sick of this. I'm not doing this, and they just throw it on the back of the
Jeff, do you know that?
And that gets thrown away. Yeah, Jeff.
So I had to repair the shackle, and I had to take down my cable-operated spare tire, and the thing won't go back up. So the spare tire now lives in the bed.
Until you need that space.
Until you move it.
And I did. I took it out for the parade.
Yeah. So just really getting not stranded, but getting a nail in the tire, and we realize we're in the middle of nowhere, and it's 4th of July, and we don't have another option. So it can be bad, and so if you do these couple things, it might help you. Okay. So most of the time, your car comes with tools, like the tire. It may not be the best. Like you may not be able to, it might not even be there. So if you have a spare one from your garage, breaker bar and a socket, do it. Maybe, just get a couple things that it might be helpful to you in a do or die situation. This is what this is all Chris. Throw in some old mechanics gloves, like the ones you have might have a small hole in one of the fingers. You just got a new pair. You don't need these anymore. Just throw them in the back of your car. It's nice to have something to protect your hands, especially if it's a hot tire or something like that you just don't want to get too messy. It's better to have one dirty finger than all of your hands being dirty. And
great tip. I love that tip.
Mm-hmm.
Chris puts gloves in every one of our cars, and so it's easy just to be able to get in the back. And even if we're not far or we're doing something in the driveway, sometimes it's easy just to grab those pair. So put them in your car. And we're moving on from tires, and don't forget your windshield washer fluid, and wash the inside of your windshield before you leave, because it sucks to drive into the summer sun, squint through the streaks and dirt. Just do it, and all of these things take a couple minutes, and you can have a better time. And then handle the easy stuff so you can be ready for it. If it's harder, like engine stuff or something worse, call AAA. Then it really sucks. But if you can make it so that you've done a couple of these things, it can be not so bad. And then you're prepared. So learn from all the things that we did.
Yes, all the things we've done poorly. Don't do
yes.
that. Yeah.
And I would also add from recent experience, if you have locking lug nuts or a specialty lug nut, better make sure not only is that one in your car, but that it fits.
Or just get rid of it. Just put a regular one on that you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, just get rid of it. Yeah.
I keep the locking ones for my snow tires.
Getting stolen.
Yeah, I have the locking ones on mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, good tip. I actually like some of that. Next show promo.
Chef
Who's
liked
gonna do
the
that?
tip. Oh, yes.
Oh.
So, folks.
He didn't see his eye roll.
The eye roll was not loud enough. I'll do it louder next time.
You gotta come back next week, because Crowd and one of our favorite guests always, Mr. Eric Root, is going to be back from his basement deep in the recesses of Kandahar, where he's been kidnapped yet again. He might even have a new blanket this time, but he's going to tell us all about the Lemons rally that they're on right now, and go and track all that stuff down on the social media. The Instagram is the best, so look at the hashtag Great Lakes Mistake around the Great Hour. And we're going to have American Endurance Racing at NCM with the 2 separate 9-hour races. Lucky Dog is at Portland International Raceway, and we're going to be talking about how all that shook out. And that's all we got coming back next week.
Awesome. Thank you for downloading us, unless you're in Sweden, and then we have no idea how you're downloading us. Because we don't seem to be in the international Google playlist. So hit us up on Shout Engine. I haven't mentioned Shout Engine in a long time. Shout Engine is where we actually post these, but obviously you're finding it because you're hearing me. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe button wherever the hell you're getting us. And wherever you're doing, ask us questions. Tell us, what is the weirdest thing you have found in a new car or a hella old car? Also, you can hit our Everyone Light Racers Facebook page, our Three Pedal Mafia Lemons Race Team Facebook page, or anywhere else. Just email us, everyone.racers@gmail.com. Instagram, Twitter, we're all there. And thank you. Until next week, keep the shiny side up, or at least keep the GM rear-mounted tire down.